Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting straight to the heart of BRICS.
Right. BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa.
Exactly. And you've shared some really interesting sources with us. Our goal here is, well, to pull out the most critical insights, figure out where BRICS stands now, and what its future might hold in global finance.
Absolutely. And it's not just the original five anymore, is it? Since 2023, we've seen Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE join the fold.
That's a big expansion.
It is. And together, even before that, they represented a huge chunk of global GDP and population, though it's fair to say average wealth per person isn't quite at Western levels.
Okay, so let's rewind a bit. What really brought these quite different countries together in the first place? What was the initial motivation?
Well, a lot of it seems to boil down to frustration. Frustration with the post-World War II financial setup.
You mean the Bretton Woods institutions?
Right.
IMF, World Bank?
Precisely. Many developing nations felt these bodies were, let's say, dominated by Western interests and didn't always address their specific needs. There were earlier attempts, like the G77, signaling this desire for a different kind of platform.
Right, a push for more voice on the global stage.
Yeah.
So does that connect to this recent massive expansion? Why bring in all these new members now?
I think it does, yeah. It definitely reflects the shift towards what people are calling a more multipolar world, not just one or two dominant powers.
Okay.
And interestingly, shifts in, say, U.S. foreign policy, maybe changes in trade approaches or how involved the U.S. is in international groups that can actually create sort of openings.
Openings for groups like BRICS.
Exactly. When the biggest shareholder in somewhere like the World Bank, which is the U.S., changes its tack, it can expose potential weaknesses or gaps in the existing system that BRICS might look to fill.
Right, I see. Okay, this is where I think it gets really crucial for anyone listening. BRICS has aspirations, right?
Yeah.
To influence global finance. What have they actually done? What are the concrete steps?
Well, especially since the 2008 financial crisis, they've definitely aimed to shake things up a bit. Key moves were setting up their own institutions.
Like the New Development Bank, the NDB.
That's the big one, yes. And the Contingent Reserve Arrangement, the CRA, these were meant to be alternatives, offering loans, maybe more accessibly, and really pushing for the use of their own local currencies and trade and finance between members.
Okay, alternatives. But from what I've read, it hasn't exactly been smooth sailing, has it? What are the big hurdles?
No, you're right. There have definitely been bumps in the road. The NDB, for instance, hasn't really made huge inroads yet with lending in local currencies like initially hoped. There are also, questions about oversight and how decisions get made.
And internal politics must play a role.
Absolutely. You've got geopolitical tensions, think India and China, or the whole situation involving Russia and Ukraine. That makes finding consensus pretty tricky sometimes.
And I remember reading something about China's influence, voting power, the NDB headquarters being in Shanghai.
Yeah, those are valid concerns raised by some observers. How is the voting power shared? Does having the HQ in Shanghai give China sort of an outsized influence? These are ongoing discussions.
So, okay, let's try and zoom out. We've got the ambitions, we've got the challenges. What's the bigger picture? Is BRICS actually on a path to becoming a major financial force, or are these roadblocks too significant?
Well, despite those very real obstacles, you can't ignore the strengths. I mean, collectively, these nations control a massive share of global oil production, something like 40%. And their combined GDP is still a huge slice of the world economy, about a quarter.
That's significant weight.
It is, and trade within the BRICS group has been growing substantially. Plus, look at the interest from other countries you mentioned. 34 nations applied to join just this year. That suggests they see real value in being part of it.
So it's not just talk then. There's substance.
I think so.
Hmm.
Look at the NDB. It is expanding its work. It's got credit ratings. It's issuing bonds in Chinese RMB. And their official strategy running through 2026 explicitly aligns with big global goals like the UN's SDGs and the Paris Agreement. So it's broadening beyond just finance.
Right.
And it's crucial to frame it correctly, I think. The main aim isn't necessarily to replace the Western system entirely, but more to amplify the voices and meet the needs of these major emerging economies within the global system.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the key takeaway for you, our listener, seems to be this. BRICS faces real challenges, no doubt, but it's undeniably a significant, evolving player on the world stage. It offers a crucial platform, especially for the Global South, to push for its interests in a world where, let's face it, financial risks aren't going away.
Exactly. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Think about how this growing web of connections within BRICS, even with all its internal complexities and tensions, might subtly, or maybe not so subtly, start to reshape the unwritten rules of global finance and influence how the world economy is governed in the future.